What are your general thoughts about baptism and why?
There's a verse in Romans that talks about being buried with Christ in baptism and risen to walk in newness of life. And that's near the way that I think about it. It's about putting off the old, putting on the new.
It's really important because it gets you started in the Catholic faith.
If you're an infant and you're baptized, it gets you started off in the right direction. You get started in the Catholic Church and you can participate in Mass right away, and you're basically introduced to the Church.
Baptism is a great sacrament. I mean, it's the initiation into the Church, I'd say, and I mean, you get all your sins wiped away, so it's pretty nice.
Baptism is really important to me, and I think it should be important to all of us Catholics. I obviously can't remember my baptism, and the only other baptism I've been to is my little sister's, and I don't even remember that. But because I have a background knowledge of it, and after learning about it in class, I see that it really is an important sacrament, because I feel that without it, I really wouldn't feel initiated into the Catholic faith, and having your sins forgiven right away as an infant, I think that innocence to being an infant is really important, and just having no sins there is so important. And I think that's a main reason why baptism is such an important sacrament, and that's really what it means to me, is like the forgiveness is so important.
It leads to, going to church, and it also leads to going to the other sacraments. So in that sense, it's very important.
And do you agree with there being infant baptisms, or do you think people should wait until they're a teenager or an adult? Or
But I also think it's good to do it to infants, because then you're putting them in the right direction on how they should live their life. They can start going to Mass right away, so you don't have to wait till you're an adult to start going to Mass and start participating in the Catholic traditions.
if you're an infant and you're baptized, it gets you started off in the right direction. You get started in the Catholic Church and you can participate in Mass right away.
Infant baptisms are great because you just get wiped away there, and if something would happen, if they would die, they'd be able to go to heaven.
Do you agree with infant baptism?
I do. And the community trusts God to carry this child to the point of living out through his own commitment what baptism means, and they trust God to make what baptism means true, even though the child's not old enough to make a choice.
I think that baptism should wait until the kid understands what is happening, so they have the opportunity to choose. Is that they aren't really given a choice as to what their parents choose.
I think that people should be baptized when they actually understand what's happening, because when they're babies, they're just there, getting water put on them, and they cry. But when you get older, you should be able to decide what you think you believe and what you actually do believe.
The infants receiving the sacrament really don't get the full experience, because they are infants and they cannot fully comprehend the sacrament. They can't comprehend at all the sacrament and what they're receiving.
Do you believe that godparents are necessary during the baptism?
Godparents in baptism are a very good thing. They can be very symbolic to help you grow in your faith. They're two other people to look to besides your parents for faith guidance. But I don't necessarily think that they're quite necessary, and in most people's cases, I don't think they play the role that they're intended to. So it's just kind of one thing in baptism that I think has lost importance.
I don't think they're necessary, but they are recommended,
I expect in the strictest sense, no. If you were, if you concocted some strange situation where it was impossible to find any godparents, then it seems a lovely custom. It seems lots of things that aren't necessary.